They killed, give me Isaiah 14 and 21. They did the same thing to my people. So then you said that they put millions of my people. Yes, you said, sir.
Should a murderer go to jail for murdering?
Absolutely.
Should a thief go to jail when he steals?
Absolutely.
Should a robber pay back the money he robbed?
Absolutely.
So why shouldn't the white man pay for what he did?
That's right. That's right.
One day you'll see just how it feels. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a
I'm in a hell of a hole, was never expected to grow. Just obstacles set in the road, that a result of me selling my soul. The story I'm telling is cold, but yet it's what everyone knows. The white man's the devil is known. America was never our home. Only a place of captivity, safe facility, hating disfigure me. They claim that I'm lazy, be killing me. Maybe this slavery draining my energy. 400 years and counting. The trail of my tears is countless. Main fact that I'm here is astounding, but I can't wait till this shit is surrounded. Ready to tangle my king and the angel, be ready to rap. Crack in the sky, nuclear missiles and make it official. I'm capturing every cracker surviving. Put them all in chains where they need to be. Slavery for me. And let the whole world see that with them in the cage and safer in the streets. Put the dog on a leash. Get resolved for the beast. 144, get the ruler show, we could all be at peace. As soon as the trumpets are sound, your kingdom we busting it down. The only way justice is found, the time for your judgment is now.
Someday you'll see just how it feels. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a
Look, ain't no remorse in my blood slip. It won't be no compromise. Now it's time to feed the worms. Watch his body turn to flies. I clutch iron while you trust the lies. The next Glock I buy gon' be Gen 5. I get it customized. And sending shots off like farewell. Praying payback come back around like a carousel. Still remember your Honda's words ringing in my head like bells. Said you in this body, you fit a Lord, fuck the cartel. Triangle choke, apply pressure to the game like I did Von Dale. Payback's a bitch in a dress, she a bombshell. Revenge is dish served cold, I just hope they making oxtail. Glock fresh out the box, I swear it got that new car smell. Made myself a target in a world of mad shooters. Devils design fire for our babies to pass through it. And the day of our king's reign, I'll be overzealous. They bought my jealous, I bought brand new parabellums.
Someday you'll see just how it feels. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a
Back row.
Now I'm going westward, sharper than an ice pick. On you rappers' necks,
and it's feeling like some vice grips. Yeah, that's light shit. Send my bro a kite quick. Ties of war, we ain't forget about you. Keep your light lit. Rappers can't see. Most of them scared to witness. Go on, close your eyes. There's one right here for the trenches. Bad bitches, natural hair or extensions. Hood niggas that'll poly grip like some dentures. Brothers on them fences. 23 and 1 out. Praying that commissary hit before it run out. Bitches on the gram, dog filter with their tongue out. Couldn't stay home because they found the dugout. Closed casket, burner in the low jacket. My co-captain, riding on these whole rappers. My hoes fabulous. Now I don't mean that derogatory, but I'm a player and there's no my women riding for me. I avoided Maury. I got 2 jets. If I can't make it through for them, then I'm useless. Sit down that roof, Chris, with a couple bosses. After the war, just to count our losses. It's not many. You see a smile on my face, but I'm not friendly. Gun on my waist, sipping white Henny. I just hope this shit go right. Living in the dark, you don't know light. Gotta got my heart, grip my bow tie. Waiting on the squab in my whole life. I just hope this shit go right. Living in the dark, you don't know light. Gotta got my heart, grip my bow tie. Living in the squab in my whole life. My whole life. It's so melodic. When I be dropping this ebonics, this ghetto phonics, they got me on the level supersonic. My bomb atomic, and you know where you can find me. Somewhere probably folding this paper origami. My name is pure as the Sani, my wave is like a tsunami. I went from 0 to 100, feeling like Ricky Bobby. I made a deal with the Reaper. Got a couple wives, they some keepers. Talk a lot of shit, but you can't walk a mile in my sneakers. Bitches go to Miami, come home with change features. Now she got a BBL, her ass fatter. Trying to show up all them niggas that laughed at her. Now when they see her, they only wanna fuck her. They just wanna touch her, they don't wanna cuff her. They just wanna come and kick it with her like a punter. Turned her to a runner, now it's all aboard the train. Fenty on the face, but it's not concealing the pain, it's a shame. So I'm in the hood like some rap snacks. I know niggas kill you and your mama for a scat pack. Dark tint, matte black, they do it for half that. Had you like 90s Missy in a fucking trash bag. I'm from Philly, we don't do bank accounts, just cash app. I spit a verse and I just watch the time slow. This that guy flow, this that shit that rappers die for. This that uncut Taha Wall straight from Pablo Escobar. I be at the bar like Moscato. They think it's effort, but no, this that block work. Make the countermeasures, take pleasures, making an op hurt. Lighters in the sky, cause every verse is a concert. My mind work at speed y'all can't fathom. Listen to the words of a champion. You can't, the streets need another anthem. I just hope this shit go right. Living in the dark, you don't know light. Gotta got my heart, grip my bow tie. Waiting on the squab in my whole life. I just hope this shit go right. Living in the dark, you don't know light. Gotta got my heart, grip my bow tie. Living in the squab in my whole life. My whole.
All right. Shalom, Israel. You live with the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Priest and Captain Soccer will hold on the class live from Memphis, Tennessee. Every Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, we have classes here in Memphis from 6 to 8 p.m. Central Standard Time. All you brothers and sisters tuning in, if you got family, loved ones, people you care about in the Memphis, Tennessee, New Orleans, Louisiana, Shreveport, Louisiana, and surrounding areas. Jackson, Mississippi as well. Anybody in northern Mississippi, Jackson, Mississippi, Tupelo, Mississippi, get them in contact with the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. Since 1969, we've been teaching so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians the truth according to the Bible. What is the truth? The truth is that so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians descend from the greatest people that have ever walked the face of the earth. The Bible identifies us as the lost 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. In the year 2026, there is nothing more important than for God's chosen people to learn the truth of who we are, where we come from, and what our purpose is on this earth. So what we like to do with these classes is give brothers and sisters an opportunity to go into this book called the Bible to gain the knowledge, wisdom, and understanding that the Most High has put inside of this book so that we can come back to being the people that he called us to be and reclaim our righteous place on the earth as kings, priests, princesses, and daughters of Zion. And with that being said, I'd like to give brothers and sisters an opportunity to ask questions. If you have any questions online, type them in. If there's any questions in the room, raise your hand. And if there are no questions, we'll go into the topic of tonight's class. What y'all see on the screen is the captivity of Jacob. You understand? There's a lot of things going on in the media, a lot of things going on in this land called America, and all of it correlates to biblical prophecies concerning the last days and the days that the Most High would begin to redeem his people out of the land of their captivity. I know a major thing going on in the news today is the expiring of the Haitian immigrant work status here in America. It's been a big thing all over the news. Go ahead and see something. Haitian immigration. Yeah, Haitian TPS, right? So this is what's happening. It says temporary protected status for over 300,000 Haitian nationals living in the United States officially expired on Monday, July 27th, 2026. The expiration follows a Supreme Court ruling that cleared the way for the administration to terminate the program. So what is this TPS, right? The Haitian TPS is a temporary protection status that was granted to Haitians following, I believe, the earthquake that occurred in Haiti in the early 2000s when Bill Clinton was president. Basically what it was is it granted visas to Haitians to come over here to be able to work, to have their immigration protected while they made a living for themselves and for their families, gave them the ability to be able to move freely in the country, pay taxes and things like that. This current regime under President Donald Trump, of course, pushed for that status to end so that these Haitians could now become targets for the Haitians could now become targets for Homeland Security, not Homeland Security. What's the damn agency that they got out there around them brothers up? ICE, the Immigration Control Enforcement. And so this whole expiring of the Haitian immigrant status, protection status, is on the heels of what we saw for the first whole year and a half of Donald Trump's second term, them attacking, our Latino brothers and sisters. The whole last year, the major stories were them rounding up brothers and sisters and deporting them, sending them to third world countries, sending them over there to prisons in El Salvador, just really inhumane treatment of a people who've done nothing but try to make the most of their lives here in America, seeing that, their homelands, the countries they come from, has been riddled with crime and drugs and government. What's the word I'm looking for? Not dysfunction. What's it called when your government is full of criminals? Goddamn. I can't even think of the damn name. I hate my mind draw blank like that. When there's corruption in the government, what do they call it? Well, I guess government corruption, right? These countries, Honduras, Costa Rica, Guatemala, Mexico, these countries are horrible places to live because America has made these countries horrible places to live. America has a long-standing, history of, clandestine programs, man, through the CIA to rob these countries of their resources, to, overthrow the government and the leaders that the people support, that the people elected, and they put dictators in control, put people who, have militaristic power in control in these South American countries, and they ruin the economy, ruin the state of things for the average person in exchange for them to be able to get a little bit of money by doing America's bidding. So a lot of the people that flee from South America, Central America, coming here to America, it's because of the evil that our country, that America has done to their country. Then for those people to come here seeking a better life, to work for lower wages, to work, knowing that they don't have proper papers, to then demonize those people and make it seem like they're evil and they're criminals for trying to seek out a living, coming to America when America has destroyed their country. It's a horribly evil thing that America has done. You understand what I'm saying? And for our brothers and sisters from Central America, South America, the brothers and sisters coming over from the Caribbean, Haiti, Cuba, Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, the Virgin Islands, our brothers and sisters that come from those countries seeking a better life here in America, for America to pretend as though these people are evil and horrible It's a continuation of slavery. It's a continuation of the captivity that we've been suffering under our oppressors for the last 450 years in this land, this land called the Americas. You know what I'm saying? Going all the way back to 1492 when Christopher Columbus first landed on the island he called Hispaniola, which is the Dominican Republic in Haiti today. Like, we have suffered a genocidal, traumatic, 400 plus year running horror story. And the lie that Black Americans have been fed is that, the Civil War was about freeing us and was about giving us equal rights and establishing, in the government with the 14th Amendment, a means for us to be accepted like everybody else, when nothing can be further from the truth given the historical record of our experience the last 60 years in this country. And right now, what's important for us to understand is that if we stand by silently as the Haitians are rounded up, as the so-called Mexicans and the so-called Latinos are rounded up, once they are done rounding them up and abusing them and, disappearing them and, getting them out of the country without due process, then we're next. You understand? And tonight we're going to go into two scriptures. We're going to go to two chapters in the Bible. We're going to go to Jeremiah, the 30th chapter, and we're going to go to Joel, the 3rd chapter. And both of these chapters in the Bible factor heavily into the prophecies concerning the children of Israel in the ending days of their captivity before the Lord delivers us out of our oppressors' hands. You understand? The Bible says that in the last days of our captivities, the Most High would bring again our captivity, meaning he would remind everybody about our captivity, you know what I'm saying, before delivering us. And we're in those days right now. What you see happening to so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians in this country called America cannot be explained any other way except for understanding that these are all the lost 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. These are God's chosen people suffering under their oppressor, the things that God said that they would suffer in the days before he redeemed us and brought us back to him. Even the growth of the truth in the ISUPK is evidence that these prophecies in the Bible are real concerning the Most High gathering his people together, waking them up, putting a mark in their forehead, you understand, recognizing those who sigh and cry for the oppression, and then redeeming us so that we can be those who lead in the kingdom when our King Christ returns. But in these days, it must be understood that things are going to get worse before we see the day of our salvation, before we see the day of our deliverance. And so that's what tonight's class is going to be about. You see them coming for the Haitians with their TPS status. You see them rounding up so-called Latinos from Central and South America. You see them demonizing brothers and sisters from Cuba, or the attack on Cuba, the attack on Venezuela. You know what I'm saying? The economy failing, them cutting off food stamps, the unaliving of Nolan Wells down there in Mississippi. You know what I'm saying? All of these things that are transpiring is the Most High reminding the earth that this is what has happened to his children. This is what has been done to his people. And while no one pleads and no one stands for justice and no one calls for these evils to be dealt with, the Lord is going to be the one to answer the call. The Lord is going to be the one to deal with the evildoers for their cruel, harsh treatment of his people. All right. So that's what we're going to go into tonight. So we're going to start now. These are two long chapters. So we're going to start in Jeremiah, the 30th chapter, and then we're going to read on down and we're going to go to Joel, the 3rd chapter. The two words that factor heavily in both of these chapters is the Lord begins by saying he's going to bring again the captivity of his people, Jacob, or bring again the captivity of Jacob. Everybody understands. And Jacob is the 12 tribes of Israel. Also, it's not curious or interesting. Jacob was Israel before he received his blessing. You know what I'm saying? So the captivity of Jacob in many instances can relate to those of our brothers and sisters suffering in the world. You know what I'm saying? Even in the truth, in the UPK, we have a term for brothers and sisters in the world. We call them Jake. We call them Jacob. You know what I'm saying? If you in the truth, you Israel, you Yasharallah, you a prince of the power. You somebody that's in the world, man, that's Jake. Jake be tripping. Jake be out of pocket. You know what I'm saying? In the truth, we refer to our brothers and sisters in the world, not in a derogatory way. We don't look down on them. You know what I'm saying? There's some people that like to look at brothers, and some people that because they've been brainwashed by our oppressor, they've been brainwashed by America. They'll look at brothers and sisters in the world and they'll call them niggas. That whole there's a difference between black people and niggas. That's bullshit. That's oppressor talk. You know what I'm saying? That's white supremacist talk. There is no difference between black people and niggas because the word nigga means black. Acts the 13th chapter, the first verse, the priests and Barnabas and Simeon who were at Antioch were called Niger. The word Niger is a Latin word that means black. Niger became nigger, which is what our oppressors referred to us here in America, and that's how we were known. Everybody understands. But for brothers and sisters that's in the truth, we don't refer to brothers and sisters in the world who are ignorant, who don't have the knowledge that we have, who haven't been taught properly. We don't refer to them as niggers with the ER. We don't refer to them as niggas that's ignorant and stupid and slow. We refer to them as Jake. You understand? So Jake is the brother in the world that's a drug addict. Jake is the sister in the world that's having sex for money. Jake is the brother that's selling drugs and shooting up the block. Jake is wild. Jake is out of pocket. Jake is also the one who's getting rounded up and disappeared by ICE. Jake is also the one who the police are targeting with their investigations. Jake is also the one who's suffering all the cruelties that people in the world who don't know the knowledge of the Most High suffer. So for all you brothers and sisters out there, if you ever talking about the condition of our people that are not in the truth, we refer to them as Jake. You know what I'm saying? We refer to them as Jacob, which is Israel before he received his blessing. And so in these scriptures, the Bible is going to talk about the bringing again of the captivity of Jacob. Why? Because Jacob went into captivity. You know what I'm saying? Israel is the Lord's redeemed, the prince of the power. But Jacob is the one who went through trouble. Jacob is the one who suffers, the cruelties that God warned us about. All right. And I'm going to prove that to you, showing you in these scriptures right here. Anytime the Bible's referring to Israel's, not anytime, but in many instances when the Bible's referring to our suffering, referring to us, in captivity, referring to us being punished by the Most High, the Bible refers to Jacob. And that's why you have to learn the Bible, man, from men of the Lord. You read this Bible, learning from our oppressors, they don't understand the nuances of the language that was spoken. They don't understand the nuances of the context between the difference when Israel is referred to as Jacob versus when Israel is referred to as Israel. You understand? Like there's a spirit in these scriptures that can only be understood by the men who have the spirit of the Lord. And those men are going to be men of the 12 tribes who've been raised and taught properly under Commanding General Yohana and the ISUPK. But let's go ahead and get into it so I can prove to y'all what I'm saying. This is Jeremiah chapter 30. We're going to start at verse 1. It says, the word that came to Jeremiah from the Most High, saying, thus speaketh the Most High power of Israel, saying, write all the words that I have spoken unto thee in a book. For lo, the days come, saith the Lord, that I will bring again the captivity of my people Israel and Judah, saith the Most High. And I will cause them to return to the land that I gave to their fathers, and they shall possess it. So the Most High said he's going to recall again, he's going to bring again the captivity of my people Israel and Judah. What is it bringing again the captivity? It's reminding everybody, bringing it back up again. You know what I'm saying? In case somebody forgot, in case you didn't remember what happened, the Lord is making sure that the earth can see the evils that his people have suffered. The earth can remember, okay, this is what happened to those people before the earth realizes that they are the people of the Lord. Everybody understand? So this is Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 4. It says, and these are the words that the Lord spake concerning Israel and concerning Judah. For thus saith the Most High, we have heard a voice of trembling, of fear, and not of peace. When you talk to Jake in the world, man, that's what you see. There's a voice of trembling, a voice of fear, and not of peace. Our people are recognizing, man, that this America that we live in 2026 is not the America that we were promised when we were growing up. This America that we're living in 2006 is not the America we thought it was when we elected Barack Obama in 2008. It's not the post-racial America that we thought it was, when we seen interracial marriages and we saw, black people getting wealth and money and being elected as governors and mayors and police chiefs. There was a time in this country where we thought, man, things were completely different. America changed and turned a new leaf. We're realizing that now the voices of the people in the world speaking is a voice of fear and trembling, not of peace. Let's keep reading. Verse 6. Ask ye now and see whether a man does travail with child. Meaning, does a man suffer the birthing pains of a woman ready to give birth? Does a man go through the difficulties that a woman goes through when she's fully pregnant? Wherefore do I see every man with his hands on his loins as a woman in travail, and all faces are turned into paleness? Meaning, why is everybody so afraid? Why is everybody so pained and so weary? You look at some of these brothers on these jobs, man. I'm looking at the statistics of what's going on in the economy. They said there's 56% of car loans that's out right now are over 30 days past due on their notes. Meaning half the people in this country that own vehicles, they are late on their payments. You understand? The automotive industry, there's car lots with brand new cars. They have cars that haven't been sold for 3 years, just sitting on the lot. The cars are, they MSRP, the sticker on the truck say 80,000. They talking about you can get it for half off, man, 40,000. Just finance it, please. Please come to the bank and make a deal. Please take some debt so we can, move some of these units. They said cats that used to be car salesmen making a grip of money after that COVID hit, and everybody had that COVID money. Said car salesmen are quitting left and right because ain't nobody got no money to come buy no car. The used car market, you got used cars for $2,500, $2,000. Nobody can afford to come get the used cars because nobody has no money because the economy is drying up. People that was investing in the stock market, SpaceX, Elon Musk's company was I forget the word. With a appraisal. His company was appraised to be $1 trillion company. The public IPO, the initial public offering, they wanted like $50 a share or something. SpaceX came out, they thought it was $1 trillion company. In 2 weeks, SpaceX has lost $90 billion in the economy. People invested $90 billion into this company, realized the company wasn't making no money and they wasn't producing anything that was worth any value. Now the stock has crashed and everybody done lost their money. And there's a lot of people that's hurting in a lot of ways in this country right now, and nobody's talking about it, but the Lord sees it, which is why he's telling Jeremiah, are men giving birth out here? Well, then why is everybody so stressed out? Why is everybody in so much pain? Why are they hands on their loins and they pale, looking sick? Because they realize that the world we thought we were going to inherit is not the world that we're living in 2026. Everybody understands? Verse 7, alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. The Lord say, man, we are living in the time of Jacob's trouble. What is the time of Jacob's trouble, man? The bringing again of the captivity of God's people. The oppression and the suffering and the ruin of everything that we thought was going to be a wonderful life living here in America. All the dreams and aspirations, man. I'm of the generation when we was taught you go to college, man, you get a good job, you buy a house, you know what I'm saying? You get you a wife, man, have 3 kids, drive a nice vehicle, buy your kids cars on their 16th birthday. All the things that we were promised was going to be life in America, it's dwindled away and disappeared in the last 12 years. You understand? I came into the truth, man, in 2010. When I came into the truth, I was living, I had a decent life in the world, making decent money. This is before the truth. I ain't gonna lie. By the time I came to the truth, I had nothing. But before that, man, I felt like I had the whole world ahead of me. And there's people that I know that's still stuck to that life in the world, and they in pain right now. The housing prices, they bought houses and their houses upside down. Now they owe more money than their house is worth. They buying cars, and the cars is, they owe more money on the car than what the car's worth. Car breaking down, you still owe $20,000 on it. You got to go and file for bankruptcy and do different things, man. This world that we have inherited is not the world that we were promised. You know what I'm saying? All of the people from the, what they call it, the baby boomer age, they all getting the Social Security age. They drawing their Social Security money, and all the taxes we paying is, you know what I'm saying, they sending that money going to go fight wars overseas. They going to go fight. They telling us ain't no money for health care, ain't no money for Medicare and for Medicaid, ain't no money for Social Security, but they can go fight wars over there in Iraq. They can go support the Israeli military. Donald Trump and his sons is robbing everybody with cryptocurrency money, making $200 billion, but there ain't no money for the poor people, man. And they rounding our brothers and sisters up with ICE. Donald Trump is threatening to have a third. He said the other night on the damn, what's the name, that he had 3 terms already. He been elected 3 times, and he going for a 4th one. He refused to acknowledge that he lost in 2020. He's saying he won in the year 2020 as well. And they robbed him. And he said he gonna run for 2028. Put a hat on that said Trump 2028, which means what? He not planning to lose this election in November. Donald Trump and his people that's in power, they not planning on letting blacks and Hispanics vote. They not planning on letting you go and elect a Democrat so they can go to prison and suffer the things that they got to suffer for their cruelty and their crimes. They're going to find some way to make sure you're not able to vote. And if you're not able to vote and the Republicans stay in office, then they're going to continue their attack on our people. They're going to continue the attack on re-enslaving us. And we are in the days of Jacob's trouble, man. There's things that brothers and sisters in this world are suffering that we don't even understand. You understand? So the young man Thomas said, people are pulling out of their retirement early more than ever. Listen, I withdrew my retirement, exhausted all of it about 6 months ago. Y'all know, everybody know I got hurt about 1.5 years ago. I got hurt last March. Well, guess what? I got a little bit of money when I first got hurt and blew through it in 2 months. That money was gone. I did a couple things, you know what I'm saying? Got a car for my daughter and my rib. You know what I'm saying? Got comfortable, one of them silly posturepedic beds with the different levels that you sleep on. I got one of those. Took care of some stuff in the house, you know what I'm saying? Renovated a little bit. And that money was gone. And I'm living off of the damn workers' comp ain't the full check. Workers' comp is 66% of the money that I was used to getting. I had to go look at that retirement. I had X amount of dollars from when I was an electrician, pulled that out. I had X amount of dollars from when I worked for FedEx. I pulled that out. You understand? And then, hell, that money gone now. So, yes, everybody putting out their retirement because ain't going to be no retirement. People are seeing, man, the writing on the walls. This thing is falling apart. Worse than that, there's people who still investing in their retirement, and their retirement being gambled on the stock market with these AI companies. So there's people who haven't touched their retirement that when they go to look at it and see how much they got to fall back on, they are going to be shocked that there's no money in that retirement. Like, the world that we thought we were going to inhabit is not the world that we're living in. And when it comes to God's people, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians, the Bible says that it is the day of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. Let's keep reading. This is verse 8 in Jeremiah 30. For it shall come to pass in that day, saith the Most High of hosts, that I will break his yoke from off thy neck, and I will burst thy bonds, and strangers shall no more serve themselves of him. The Lord said, man, the time is coming where he's going to break this yoke off of our neck. And we no longer going to serve these strangers. You understand? We no longer going to give them our substance. Right now in this land called America, God's chosen people are stuck serving all the other nations. I just think of how much money black women spend every year on East Indian hair. You understand? It's a $3 billion industry of East Indians. Now, East Indians have a god they worship. One of their gods they worship requires the women to cut their hair off bald. These East Indian women, they go to worship their god, they cut their hair off bald. Some East Indian company gets all the hair that is cut off and sacrificed to this god. They bundle it up, make bundles, and they bring it to America to sell to black women to put weave in their hair. And that's a $3 billion industry that the East Indians have. These Koreans, they come over here to America. They are the ones that are in your beauty salons. They're the ones that's selling you your fake eyelashes. They're selling you your lip gloss. They sell you your weave and your hair care products. Those Koreans have billion-dollar industries off of black people's hair care. You understand? The Vietnamese come over here. They got pho restaurants. You buy they soup. You know what I'm saying? You go to get your nails done. The Vietnamese and the Koreans is in the nail salon. The Chinese come over here, set up chicken wing spots where they selling you 3 wings and fried rice. You feel what I'm saying? And we pay them of our substance, and they take that money and send it back to their countries. Here in Memphis, Tennessee, Arabs own all the gas stations. Arabs own all the little corner store marts. You want to go buy some candy for the kids, or hell, the majority of our people, Jacob in the world, they going and buying roll-ups, going and buying Garcia Vegas and Philly blunts and whatever y'all smoking nowadays. They go buy I'm in the gas station sometimes, I'm getting me some gas, and I hear cats say, yeah, let me get a Newport 100 full box, and let me get 2 Black and Milds with the wood tip, and let me get I forget the names of some of these new things they got, but that's what's happening. We selling ourselves to these other nations. The Lord said that they gonna come when He gonna deliver us, man. Break the bonds of the captivity off of our necks and the yoke off of our hands, and the strangers are no longer gonna serve themselves with us. Everybody understands? Jeremiah 30:9, but they shall serve the Lord their God and David their king, who I will raise up unto them. Meaning what? They're gonna come into the truth. Jake is gonna come into the truth and realize that they're the Lord's chosen people. That they're not Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian, that they're not niggas and spicks and wetbacks, that they're not gang members and drug dealers and players and pimps and hustlers. We're going to realize that we were made to be kings and priests. Our daughters are no longer going to be scammers and hoes and strippers and prostitutes. They're going to become daughters of Zion. And when we serve the Most High and we serve our King Yahushua, who is from the seed of David that was raised up, then guess what? The Lord will begin to deliver us. That's the time we're in right now. As things are getting worse and worse for brothers and sisters in the world, the truth is going to be the way that they find deliverance. The truth is going to be the way that they find peace. That's what the Lord has called all of us for. You understand? Our lives in the truth, man, is so much greater than what we experienced when we were in the world. Black women are able to come in here and find confidence, able to come in here and find love and peace with a man who's going to be with them and will never leave them and abandon them. Children are able to be raised with both of their parents in the home. You understand? Young boys are able to get taught discipline and taught how to be a man and to handle their emotions. Young girls get to see a man and a woman loving one another and choosing one another and battling through the difficulties that come up in a relationship. Life in the truth, man, is so much greater than what the brothers and sisters that are in the world are experiencing. And the more and more that they start to understand this life we live in, they're going to choose this rather than what they're suffering in the world. Everybody understands. Reading on, this is Jeremiah 30:10. Therefore, fear thou not, O my servant Jacob, saith the Most High. Neither be dismayed, O Israel. For lo, I will save thee from afar, and thy seed from the land of their captivity. And Jacob shall return, and shall be in rest, and be quiet, and none shall make him afraid. For I am with thee, saith the Most High, to save thee. Though I make a full end of all nations whither I have scattered thee, yet will I not make a full end of thee. But I will correct thee in measure, and will not leave thee altogether unpunished. Like, these are words of truth. These are words of encouragement. These are words that we can hang our hat on, knowing that the Lord is not going to forsake us, that we are not suffering these things for our destruction, but what we have experienced is a part of us being corrected. What we have experienced is a part of us being chastised. You understand? We are not innocent in many instances. We're definitely not innocent in the Lord's eyes. And so some of the things that you and I suffered before we came into the truth, we needed to suffer those things. We needed to go through what we went through for us to realize, man, I'm living life the wrong way. I need to choose the Lord. And upon choosing the Lord, you had to experience some things. You had to go through some things that were difficult. But in the end, you come out better, and you can look up and say, man, that was the Lord correcting me. That was the Lord delivering me. That was the Lord saving me. As bad as it is, and as bad as it's going to get for our brothers and sisters in the world, it's worse for our oppressors right now. There's many places on this earth, you don't get to hear the news coming out of China. You don't hear the news coming out of them Arab countries. You don't hear the news coming out of the East India and coming out of Germany and France. These people are suffering in a lot of these places, man. They ain't got the wealth is not there. The money is not there. They don't have the technological advances that America has. They don't have the government, freedom that America has. There's a lot of things that we have been granted in this place that as we wake up to the truth and we able to improve our lives, there's a lot for us to be thankful for that our oppressors do not have. There's a lot for us to be appreciative of and being able to understand some of the things that we've gone through in our lives and experience that they make sense when you know the Lord. Our oppressors don't have access to that. There's things that our oppressors suffer and they go through that there are no answers for. There is not a God that can deliver them from that because their gods are gods of homosexuality. Their gods are gods of drug addiction and pedophilia. I went and watched that Odyssey movie. That Odyssey movie was a good movie, but they left out a lot of the deviancy of our oppressors. You go read that Iliad and you go read the Odyssey, it was a whole lot of nastiness going on with them Greeks and they gods. The cat Odysseus from the Odyssey movie, in the book, he's getting tricked by female gods into having sex with them, getting drugged up. They turning his men into animals, all types of mystical stuff going on. But a lot of it is surrounding a lot of nasty sex, a lot of gay sex, a lot of, assaulting of women. You watch the Odyssey, they talk about the sea people. The sea people was such a horrible thing because after this war, these people, the lands that they touched base on their way home, they did nothing but ravage in the land. Unaliving people, taking people into captivity, you understand? Assaulting the women and the young girls and the young boys. These are a nasty group of bastards, them Greeks. Well, guess what? As they, in today's society, they're still nasty. And they're still harming their children and harming their women. There's no salvation for them. There's no deliverance for them. There's no knowledge that they can learn one day that'll explain their life and comfort them. We are the people who have the God who has given us a path to changing our lives, giving us a culture that we can lean on and say, damn, this is the way we're supposed to be living all along. Now I understand how horrible it was when I grew up because my parents didn't have this truth. I understand the community where the drugs was running rampant and the mamas and the daddies wasn't home because now we understand the truth. I understand why we had to go to prison and was in captivity because now I understand the truth. The white man doesn't have access to that. The East Indian doesn't have access to that. The African doesn't have access to that. But you do have access to it because you are Jacob. You know what I'm saying? We are the Lord's chosen people. So as we wake up, we're able to understand the things that we've experienced in life, and it gives us a peace in our spirit. It gives us a calm understanding that, man, the Lord was in this thing the entire time. And that needs to be the message for our brothers and sisters in the world today. We know it's hard. We know it's rough. But the Lord is bringing these things down to get us to wake up and turn back to him. And as we wake up and turn back to him, he said he's going to make a full end of all the nations where he's driven us, but he's not going to make a full end of us. Everybody understands. This is Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 12 now. It says, for thus saith the Most High, thy bruise is incurable, and thy wound is grievous. Man, our wound and our bruise is, there's nothing that can be done to help us. There are no answers to the Black, Latino, and Native Indian problem in America, except for we are the lost 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. We're the chosen people of God. There's no way to explain the condition of our people in this earth today without understanding that we are the lost 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. One of my wives asked me today about Jacob and Esau, about the Dominicans and the Haitians. She said, how did it happen that there's an island where there's one side the Dominican Republic and the other side Haiti, but they so divided and they hate each other. And I said, well, of course, the that island where the Dominican Republic and Haiti sits is divided somewhat by a mountain. There's a mountain range that runs through that island. On one side is the Dominican Republic, the other side is Haiti. And back when the colonizers came, the Spanish landed on one side and the French landed on the other. So those are two different Europeans with two different languages, two different cultures, two different businesses that they were in. So they were growing different types of crops on both sides of the island. And I said, and as the time went on, the people just ended up being different. One people speak French, one people speak Spanish. You know what I'm saying? One people revolted and fought and got their freedom. The other side didn't. I said, but the Bible prophesied that Simeon and Levi would be close, but would be divided. The Bible prophesies Simeon and Levi, which is Simeon is the Dominicans today, Levi is the so-called Haitians today. Biblical prophecy in Genesis, the 49th chapter, and Deuteronomy, the 33rd chapter, talks about Simeon and Levi and how although they were close, because of their cruelty, they would be divided. You know what I'm saying? And they would be devices among them that would keep them, violently in opposition to one another. You can't understand the Dominican Republic and Haiti without understanding the Bible. You can't understand how these people all was on the same island, same race of people, but ended up being completely different and divided unless you know that they are the tribe of Simeon and Levi. And there's certain things about what we're experiencing that just cannot be explained without the Bible. How is it that black people have been in America for all these years and yet we can't get ahead, but these other nations come over here and are able to rise? Why is it that our oppressor sees us as a threat, but doesn't see the Chinese and the East Indians and the Arabs and all these other nations as threats? You can't understand this oppression, this captivity without understanding the Bible. Thanks be to the Most High in Christ, we do have the understanding and the knowledge of this Bible because of Commander General Yohana, the generals, the captains, and the officers of the ISUPK who have been receiving this truth, studying this truth, and holding it down since 1969. Everybody understand? Once again, Jeremiah 30:12. For thus saith the Most High, thy bruise is incurable, and thy wound is grievous. There is none to plead thy cause, that thou mayest be bound up. Thou hast no healing medicines. All thy lovers have forgotten thee. They seek thee not. For I have wounded thee with the wound of an enemy, with the chastisement of a cruel one for the multitude of thine iniquity, because thy sins were increased. Why criest thou for thine affliction? Thy sorrow is incurable for the multitude of thine iniquity, because thy sins were increased. I have done these things unto thee. So the Most High is making it clear. We are suffering because of the evil that we've done against the Most High. We are suffering because we have not served him. We have not turned back to him. We continue to attempt to join our oppressors. We continue to attempt to identify ourselves as something other than the Lord's people. We want to be free in so many ways. And it may seem like a lot of this stuff is new. I know the LGBTQ stuff seems like it's new, but a lot of it is old, man. Old, ancient disobedience against the Lord. I see a thing on the internet now. Is a lot of black women getting back into hoodoo, which is, I guess, hood voodoo, which is going back to the ancient practices, that they think was delivering us when those are the things that got us enslaved. A lot of black women into the astrology, into the damn Venus moon and the Aquarius sun and all this goofy ass Mercury in retrograde, and that's the reason why the sun is entering into the Taurus. All that bullshit is why we destroy it. All them things you worshiping, you want to worship the creation and not the creator. That's why we destroy it. You want to practice all this hugging trees and grounding your feet in the grass and not acknowledging that there's a God who made laws and rules for us to follow. So angry with our oppressor that black women think that they got to fight against the patriarchy. The patriarchy ain't enslaved the black. The patriarchy is not black men. The patriarchy is our oppressors. The cruelty, the dismissal of women and their, gifts and the need for them to raise our families and to love us and to support us, that doesn't come from black men. That comes from our oppressor. The feminist movement was a movement that was started because our oppressor, white men, were beating and assaulting their families in the 1910s and the 1920s and the 1930s. The women's suffrage movement was started because they needed to pass laws to stop our oppressors from drinking and doing harm to their families. That was not a problem that black men and black women had, but because we sought to join our oppressors, black men emulating our oppressor became cruel towards our women, and our women being beguiled and being gamed up by our oppressor began to identify with their women and fight the battle and the cause for their women. There's a fight taking place between black men and black women today that has nothing to do with us. There's disagreements and arguments on the internet between black men and black women that have nothing to do with us. It has to do with our oppressor. But because we would do anything not to identify ourselves as the children of God, we are caught fighting a battle that cannot benefit us on either side. It's a lot of these things are the reason why we're suffering, because we won't listen to reason. We won't acknowledge that the Most High is the one who's the author of all these things. And if we are not obeying him, then there is no way that can prosper us. So a lot of the things that are coming up today, a lot of this stuff is old stuff. Hoodoo is old. Voodoo and praying to the Orishas and these West African gods. That's what got us in slavery. That's what got us into captivity. Getting high, smoking weed and smoking heroin and DMT and popping pills. That is what got us in captivity. Celebrating Christmas and Thanksgiving and Kwanzaa and all these dumbass holidays. That is what got us in the captivity. You understand? Polyamory, women having multiple husbands and men, swinging and sharing their wives with other men. That is what got us into captivity. The only way that we're going to be able to get free is if we put our sins and our perverseness behind us and turn to the Most High. And there's brothers and sisters that will hear anything. They will listen to any wisdom. They will listen to anybody telling them any knowledge. But as soon as men pull out the Bible and say, we're going to read from the word of the Lord, they say, nah, that's a white man's book. How is the Bible a white man's book when everybody in the book is black? How is the Bible a white man's book when the white man is the devil, according to the Bible? People demonize the Bible because they don't want to follow rules. People demonize the Bible because the Bible, in the same chapter, when it's explaining, we're going to get free from captivity. The Lord is going to redeem us. The Lord is going to destroy our enemies. He's not going to destroy us. It also says, but you're suffering all these things because of your disobedience. Your wound cannot be cured any other way. All your lovers have forgotten you because you forgot the Lord. People don't want to hear that part. There's a lot of our people today that want to look at the evil that's going on. And they want to blame our oppressor, but they don't want to accept accountability for having turned their back on the Lord. And you turning your back on the Lord might not even have been your fault. Hell, you was raised in a church where they lied on God. You was raised in a church where you never learned the truth. You was raised in a church where the men and the women in there was committing all kinds of crimes and atrocities against children and doing everything that went against the Lord. But that was the point of the church. The point of the church, the point of religion was to make sure you never got in tune with the word of God. You never learn to respect these words in this book, never learn to respect these rules. I thank the Most High for some of us, he had us to endure and to wake up and realize that church life that we lived as children was evil and wrong. That church teaching that we was all given with the singing and the dancing and the catching the Holy Spirit, that had nothing to do with God. All of that is those religions and that worship that we had before we even came into captivity. You understand? You go read the book, The Sociological Souls of Black Folk by W.B. Du Bois. W.E.B. Du Bois tells you about church revivals where they catching the Holy Spirit and doing dances and speaking in tongues that ain't had nothing to do with Christianity. It has nothing to do with that religion. That's some shit we was doing even before captivity. That's the Native Indians used to, do rain dances and have powwows and smoke damn weed and get high. That's why we went into captivity. The white man came, we wanted to sit down and smoke a peace pipe, get high with the white man, rather than recognizing that this was our enemy, rather than serving the Most High. The damn Native Indians was bowing down and worshiping totem poles and all types of feathers and stars and goofy shit, painting wolves, and that's not how the Lord established us to live, which is why we suffered and went into captivity. We got to recognize, man, there's no way that we're going to get free except for turning back to the Most High and being the people he called us to be. Just because you abandon Christianity, just because you abandon Islam, doesn't mean everything else out there works. Everything else out there is good. There is no morality without the Bible. There is no way of living that works without the rules that's in this book. What works for our oppressor will not work for us. We are the people that are bound to obey the Most High. And in obeying the Most High, we get freed and delivered. In disobeying the Most High, we suffer and are in the days of Jacob's trouble. Everybody understands? Let me keep reading. This is Jeremiah chapter 30. We in verse 16 now. Therefore, all they that devour thee shall be devoured, and all thine adversaries, every one of them, shall go into captivity. And they that spoil thee shall be a spoil, and all that prey upon thee will I give for a prey. The Most High is talking about flipping the script. He's going to reverse the order of things. We've been on the bottom and we've been in captivity. We're going to be the ones taking them into captivity. We've been spoiled and been ran through. We are going to spoil them and run through them. We have been a prey to them and been at their mercy. They are going to be a prey to us and be at our mercy. But we have to be governed by the laws of God. We have to be governed by the rules that are written in this record for our people. Verse 17, for I will restore health unto thee, and I will heal thee of thy wounds, saith the Most High. Because they called thee an outcast, saying, this is Zion, whom no man seeketh after. Because we was discarded and thrown away, the Lord said, man, I'm going to have pity on you and I'm going to raise you up. And we have to understand, man, if there's never been a time in the earth where you realize how discarded and disrespected Black, Latino, and Native Indian people were, you got to look at the earth today and understand that it's now. All these other places where they suffer things, man, you'll see on the internet, you'll see, pray for Japan and black out your screen for this country and black out your, put a line on your profile for what's going on with this nation. What about what's happening to the Latinos in America? What about the outcry for what's happening to Black people in America? Nobody on the planet gives a damn. Nobody stops to even think about you. But the Lord has always thought about us. The Lord has always cared about us. Everybody understands. Let's keep reading. This is Jeremiah chapter 30, verse 18. Thus saith the Most High, behold, I will bring again the captivity of Jacob's tents, and have mercy on his dwelling places. And the city shall be builded upon her own heap, and the palace shall remain after the manner thereof. And out of them shall proceed thanksgiving and the voice of them that make merry. And I will multiply them, and they shall not be few. I will also glorify them, and they shall not be small. Their children also shall be as aforetime, and their congregation shall be established before me. And I will punish all that oppress them. And their nobles shall be of themselves, and their governor shall proceed from the midst of them. And I will cause him to draw near, and he shall approach unto me. For who is this that engaged his heart to approach me, saith the Most High? And ye shall be my people, and I will be your God. Behold, the whirlwind of the Lord goeth forth with fury, a continuing whirlwind. It shall fall with pain upon the head of the wicked. The fierce anger of the Most High shall not return until he have done it, and until he have performed the intents of his heart. In the latter days, ye shall consider it. You understand? Like, man, Jeremiah 30 is an amazing love letter to Israel for the times that we're in now. While it may seem hopeless, man, and it seems like sure doom awaits us, we have to know that now is the time that the Lord is going to deliver us if we choose him, if we turn to him. I love when I talk to people about the Bible and debate with people, and they say, you waiting on some sky daddy, you waiting on some God. And I have to correct them and say, nah, man, we not waiting on a sky daddy. We not waiting on God. God is waiting on us. The Lord has already promised us what he's going to do, but he requires us to be the people who deserve what he said he would do. Right now, we are not experiencing the blessings and the glory that is recorded in this Bible because we have not returned to the Lord and been the people that he called us to be. How sad is it that there are people who think that we crazy for believing in the Bible? We crazy for, waiting on God. We crazy for believing that one day out of the sky, black men are going to come and deliver us out of this hell. When the Bible says this based on whether or not we obey the Most High. And because they think our faith and our trust in the Most High is so crazy and so nonsensical, they won't stop getting high. They won't stop having sex with white women. They won't stop chasing our oppressors' wealth and riches. They think that believing in God is crazy, but think that fighting our oppressor is reasonable, sensible. There's black people who believe they're going to take up arms against our oppressor. They're waiting for the day that the race will pop off because they're going to take up arms and fight. You think you're going to conquer the man who has, stealth bombers and sonic beam weapons, and you don't own a factory? We don't own a manufacturing company for firearms. We don't own an ammunition company. We don't even own a mine where they're getting the elements that they make the gunpowder out of. How can we win a war with our oppressor when he's the creator of all the war utensils? We crazy for believing in a power that's greater than the white man, but you not crazy for believing you're going to be able to defeat the white man with his own guns? It doesn't make any sense. We're crazy for believing the words of a book that was recorded over thousands of years ago that says, if my people will obey me, I will make them above everybody. But if they disobey me, they're going to go into slavery on ships. We crazy for believing that book, but you're not crazy for believing that you're going to overthrow and rule the earth, but you can't stop smoking weed and getting high. You're going to overthrow the oppressor and rule the earth, but your God is the same God as the Arabs who make deals with the white man to keep you in slavery and captivity. There's cats out there that they Muslim. They believe that they're going to overthrow America. And the Arabs with actual guns and bombs can't overthrow America. So you're going to overthrow America as a black man, Muslim in America, and then what? Be subject unto the Arabs? But we crazy for what we believe in. But you gonna rule the earth and you still get high. You gonna rule the earth and you don't, you still lying to your woman. You gonna rule the earth, but you still, get dysfunction in your family. Come on, man. It's not gonna happen. It's not realistic. It's foolish. It's a foolish endeavor to believe that as a man, there's something you can do of yourself that's going to cause you to have a legacy of some lasting greatness in the earth. The only legacy, the only lasting greatness comes from either serving the Lord or being such a good servant for your oppressor that they make a mockery out of you after your death. You understand? Martin Luther King is a man that was made a mockery of after his death. Malcolm X is a man that was made a mockery of after his death. You understand? Some of these other cats that they talk about in history were made mockeries of after their death. Hell, even Marcus Garvey. You go study some of these cats in history, man. It'll be underwhelming for you to learn about their life and how they lived and how they died. And you find out that, damn, they was a puppet the whole time. You find out that they was a sellout. You find out they was financed by some oppressors. You find out their whole identity, their philosophy came from another nation. There is no glory that comes except for if you serve the Lord. Because everything that you get from the oppressor, the glory you get from the oppressor, it can either be taken away or it's false glory. There's not anybody you can name on the earth, in the history of the earth, that has actual real glory that didn't either get it from the Lord or it's a lie that was given to them by the oppressor. And that's across everybody. The only honorable names in history are the names that's in the Bible. Outside of the Bible, there is no honorable names in history. You know what I'm saying? So those who have honor, and honor came because they were serving the God of the book. Tucson Overture has honor. You understand? Nat Turner has honor. Harriet Tubman has honor. Why? They were serving the God of the Bible. They was doing what they learned reading the Bible. Other names in history: the great conquerors, Genghis Khan's, a nasty, deviant, sexual bastard, and had no morality, and he was an illiterate son of a beggar who rose to power. Alexander the Great was a nasty, deviant, sexual monster who was world famous for his sexual exploits with men and with women, but really with men. All the generals and the soldiers, they used to run trains on Alexander the Great. And after, between all the trains getting ran on him, he was a hell of a fighter, warrior, leader of men, but he was a nasty sexual deviant. Anybody else you can name in history, I can run their background down to you, and you'll find out, oh yeah, they were actually a horrible, evil, disgusting bastard. Even hell, Winston Churchill and Woodrow Wilson, anybody you want to name in history that you think was great, they actually were a horrible piece of shit. Excuse my language. They were deviant and sexually, or some kind of way they was evil and wicked. The only honor comes from serving the Lord. You understand? And believing in the God of this book. Salaki. Let's get Joel. Now we're going to the book of Joel, chapter 3. All right, we're going to read the book of Joel, chapter 3. All right, so here we go. This is Joel, chapter 3. It says, verse 1, "For behold, in those days and in that time, when I shall bring again the captivity of Judah and Jerusalem, I will also gather all nations and will bring them down into the valley of Jehoshaphat, and will plead with them there for my people and for my heritage Israel, whom they have scattered among the nations and parted my land." What is the valley of Jehoshaphat? That's that land in the Middle East right now. The Lord said when he bring again the captivity of his people Judah and Jerusalem, he gonna bring all the nations down to the valley of Jehoshaphat. You know what I'm saying? Ever since 9/11, I remember being young in the truth, you know what I'm saying, and learning that ever since 9/11, when our oppressors went into that land of the Middle East, they were never going to make it out. That was the Lord beginning the gathering of the nations into the valley of Jehoshaphat. And ever since 2001, after 9/11, America has been at war with Afghanistan. America went to war with Iraq. America went to war with Jordan. America overthrew the government of Egypt, overthrew the government of Libya, overthrew the government of Syria, overthrew the government of Lebanon, Jordan, Kuwait, made deals with the United Arab made deals with Saudi Arabia, which led to the establishment of the United Arab Emirates, which led to the establishment of Qatar and some of those countries. And now America, when they pulled out of Afghanistan, they pulled out of them countries in the Middle East. The Lord brought them right back. Now they're in war with Iraq. And this war with Iraq and the clogging up of the Strait of Hormuz is bringing in China, bringing in Russia, bringing in all of the European nations. They're trying to make deals and trying to find some way to run these pipelines and to get this oil, but it's never going to stop. And the Lord is causing all these nations, the world economy is being brought to its knees. A bunch of nations are getting choked out right now because this is the Lord pleading with them. This is the Lord showing these other nations, making them suffer pain and consequences for the evil that's happening to his children here in this land called America. Everybody understands. This is Joel chapter 3, verse 3. "And they have cast lots for my people, and have given a boy for a harlot, and sold a girl for wine that they might drink." That's what's taking place, man, with all of these deportations. That's what's taking place with all of the crime and the government corruption in these South American, Central American countries. That's what's going on with the people of Cuba right now, with them grabbing the leader of Venezuela and bringing him into America to go to jail, Maduro. That is, they making bets and making wages on putting our people in prison, putting us in captivity, shipping us, making deals to ship us down to El Salvador to prisons where, uninhabitable conditions, having our people stuck in border facilities where they're not eating no food and it's maggots in the sandwiches and just unimaginably evil things that's happening to our people, man. The Lord said, because of these things, there's consequences and repercussions. That's why their sons are going to go and perish in the Middle East. That's why their sons are going to go and perish fighting a war that's for Israel. You understand? This is Joel 3 and 4. Yea, and what have ye to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon, and all the coasts of Palestine? Will ye render me a recompense? And if ye recompense me swiftly and speedily, will I return your recompense upon your own head? Because ye have taken my silver and my gold, and have carried into your temples my goodly pleasant things. The children also of Judah and the children of Jerusalem have ye sold unto the Grecians, that ye might remove them far from their border. This is talking about us being sold, man, going into captivity, our wealth being stripped from us, our wealth being taken and given to these other nations. The Lord has seen what has befallen Black, Hispanic, and Native Indian people. The Lord has seen what has happened to his children in North, Central, and South America, the children of the diaspora, and the Lord is not satisfied. He is not pleased with the evil that has been done, with the atrocities that have been committed. Everybody understands. Joel 3 and 7, behold, I will raise them out of the place whither ye have sold them, and will return your recompense upon your own head. Meaning what? The Lord said he's going to raise us from the places that they sold us, and he is going to return payment on their own head. You understand? All the things that we've suffered, man, all the death and the destruction, all of the, genocide and the mutilation, all of the spiritual and the mental and the emotional torment that we've experienced, the Lord said he's going to bring it to these other nations. He's going to bring it to these other places. And that's why when you see violence and when you see outbreaks of civil unrest in some of these other nations, you have to know that it is the Lord that's doing it. When you see the world economy crashing and these other nations having to resort to, drastic measures in order to be able to sustain themselves, you have to know that it is the Lord that has done it. You know what I'm saying? You just look at the news, man. I'm studying the news. I'm looking at different countries and what they're going through. The birth rates in many of those Asian countries is in the negative right now because they can't afford to have children. I watched a documentary about birth rates in Japan. Japan is at a place right now where there's like 3 elder Japanese for every 1 young Japanese entering the workforce, meaning the baby boomers in Japan outnumber the new children 3-1. So in about 20 years in Japan, there's not going to be enough money being generated to support the Social Security of the elder people because they're not having enough children. Why aren't they having children in Japan? Because they cannot afford to have children. They can't afford to have children and have a career and still be able to have a house and a car and all the regular things that people want to have in life. So in order to be able to live a decent life, they're just not having kids. But not having kids is going to mean that there's nobody to fund Social Security in 20 years, which means the old people are going to have to keep working. They're not going to be able to have a life they imagined they was going to have neither. They're not going to, like, this thing that is happening in America is happening all over the earth. And the Lord is destroying the entire society. All civilizations, all societies are crumbling simultaneously. The one that we're, the crumble that we're experiencing in America it's directed towards us because that's the way of our oppressor. That's the way of the white man. It's to blame us for everything. But it's inevitable what's happening. It's happened. The system was built on a house of cards. It's a giant game of charades. And now the game is coming to an end. The Lord is bringing the game to a conclusion, and no one wants to acknowledge and recognize that this is the end of everything. And they're going to just keep dragging it out as long as they can. They're going to keep with the stock market and the wars and the price of gold and the new currency. They're going to keep battling it out until all of it falls apart and all of it crumbles in on itself. And all that's going to be left are those who have prepared to survive. How do you prepare? How do you prepare to survive the end of everything? How do you prepare to survive the crumbling of society? How do you prepare to survive the falling of an empire? You already live in the next one. Because of the Bible, we know what comes after the fall of everything. We know what comes after the destruction of this empire. We know what comes at the conclusion of this current civilization. It's the civilization of our King. It's the civilization of the righteousness of the Most High. And we already are living in that civilization. We already are putting ourselves in that world by obeying those rules and committing ourselves to that culture. The people who are not going to be able to survive are the ones who, once everything that they've known is taken from them, they don't know anything. The Lord is allowing us to be able to get ahead of the curve. We are ahead of everybody else because we are preparing now for the fall. We've been preparing. I've been in the truth 16 years preparing for the fall. Some brothers been in the truth 25, 30 years preparing for the fall. The Lord has allowed you to wake up, and in the time that you've been woken up, you've begun to prepare for the fall. And guess what? When the fall occurs, we ain't going to be surprised. We ain't going to be sitting here wondering, oh, man, what are we going to do? We ain't going to have to wonder, where do I go? We're going to already know. Serve the Lord. Call my camp leader. Get in contact with the school. They're going to have instructions. They're going to have orders. And we're going to be ready. There's a time coming where we are going to live not by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of the Most High. But we're going to sustain ourselves. Wisdom will be the stability of thy times. What is that wisdom? The knowledge of what the Lord requires of us. The knowledge of what God wants us to do. You understand? These instructions and this wisdom and this knowledge that's in this Bible is going to be what ushers us into the world that is to come. But this world must fall. This world must fall. And as this world is falling, don't be afraid. Don't be scared. Just make sure that you're doing what God requires of you so that you can make it into the next world. Everybody understands? Let's keep reading. This is Joel chapter 3, verse 8. And I will sell your sons and your daughters into the hand of the children of Judah, and they shall sell them to the Sabians, to a people far off, for the Lord has spoken it. Proclaim ye this among the Gentiles. Prepare war. Wake up the mighty men. Let all the men of war draw near. Let them come up. The Lord said, prepare, proclaim this among the Gentiles. This is what all these nations need to understand. White, Chinese, Japanese, Korean, Iraqi, Iranian, Afghanistanian, Palestinian, Jordanian, Qatarian, give me some more. German, French, Russian, Spanish, Portuguese, Danish. Give me some more. What's the ones in the middle? Kazakhstanian, Serbian. Who fighting against Russia? What's some cats named Russia invaded? What's the country Russia invaded, man? So many wars going on. Goddamn. Russia invaded Switzerland. Now he ain't invaded Switzerland. Poland. What the fuck is the name of that goddamn country? Who was China? I mean, who was Russia at war with? Okay, man, I gotta do something about my mental health. I mean, not my mental health, but goddamn. Russia, war, Ukrainians. Why can't I think of Ukraine? All these countries, the Lord is saying, proclaim amongst them, prepare for war. You understand? And they already done it. They already doing it. There's military exercises. All these countries preparing for war. Why? Because they're going to have to fight for control of this world. You know who doesn't have to fight for control of this world? God's people. Because we want this world to fall away. We want this world to pass. We want this world to be removed so our world could be ushered in. We don't have to fight for this world, brothers and sisters. We got to fight for the world to come. How do we fight for the world to come? We make sure that we prepare ourselves to live in that world by living in that world now. We got to be obeying the laws of the Most High and establishing amongst ourselves the kingdom of heaven. The kingdom of heaven is present in the city of Memphis, Tennessee. Why? Because there are brothers and sisters here who are obeying the Lord and who deal righteously with one another according to the laws of God. And that is where the kingdom of heaven is. The kingdom of heaven is in Birmingham, Alabama. Why? Because there's brothers in Birmingham that's obeying the laws of God, and the people that's around them and in their company are obeying the laws of God, and they deal with one another according to the laws of God. They have the kingdom of heaven in Birmingham, Alabama. In Jackson, Mississippi, I'm raising brothers up, raising sisters up right now in Jackson, Mississippi. And the kingdom of heaven is going to be present in Jackson, Mississippi. Why? Because the brothers and sisters in that city are obeying the Lord and dealing with one another according to the laws of the righteousness of God. You understand? And all of these places, Tupelo, Mississippi. You understand? We got brothers in New Orleans, Louisiana, Shreveport, Louisiana, Lake Charles, Louisiana. You understand? I keep forgetting that one city, that brother in Lafayette, Louisiana. You understand? They in those cities obeying the Lord, and they're telling their families and the people that's close to them to obey the Lord, and we established in the kingdom of heaven in those places. So when this place falls apart, there's going to be pockets where brothers and sisters are obeying and keeping the righteousness of the Lord, and they're going to be protected. They're going to be delivered. Everybody understands? Keep reading. This is Joel 3 and 10. Beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say, I am strong. Assemble yourselves and come, all ye heathen, and gather yourselves together round about. Thither cause thy mighty ones to come down, O Lord. Let the heathen be wakened and come up to the valley of Jehoshaphat, for there I will sit to judge all the heathen round about. Put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come, get you down, for the press is full, the fats overflow, for their wickedness is great. What is that talking about? Put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. That's a message to the grim reaper, a message to the death angel, to come down with the sickle. What is a sickle? Sickle is something a farmer uses to cut down corn. Farmer goes through, so the grim reaper, the image of the grim reaper that everybody is famous with is that man in a big hood with that big sickle, right? Well, when it comes time to harvest corn in a field, back in the days, a man would come through with that big sickle, and he would swipe at the roots of the grass and chop down the corn stalks. And as he went through and chopped it down, people would be coming behind to pick the corn up off of the grass, put the stalks in tear the corn off, put the corn in one basket, put the stalks in another one. So that's how they used to clear a field. Where the Lord is describing the earth as the battlefield, right? Where the fight is going to be taking place. The Lord is telling the angel of death to put ye the sickle and come, for the harvest is ripe. One more time. This is Joel 3 and 13. Put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come, get you down, for the press is full. What is the press? So the get the sickle, the harvest is ripe. Cut down the wheat, or cut down the corn, the wheat or the corn in the field, right? What happens next is all of that wheat, or that wheat goes into a press where the wheat gets grounded down into flour. After the harvest, after all the cutting down, the press is full. Crush that thing down to powder. This is blood running on the battlefield. Then the wine press is full, meaning you press it out, ain't nothing but fresh juice getting squeezed. That fresh juice is the blood running from all the heathen because of all the evil they've done to God's people. And the death angel is coming with the sickle, meaning the harvest is ripe. The time of the wickedness of these heathens have reached so high that now the Lord is ready to destroy them. Now the Lord is ready to squeeze the blood out of them. Squeeze all the juice out of all the evildoers to, pay vengeance for all the evil that's been done in the earth. And that's the time that we're living in. Everybody understands? One more time, this is Joel 3 and 13. Put ye in the sickle, for the harvest is ripe. Come, get you down, for the press is full, the fats overflow, for their wickedness is great. Multitudes in the valley of decision, for the day of the Lord is near in the valley of decision. The sun and the moon shall be darkened, and the stars shall withdraw their shining. The Lord shall roar out of Zion and utter his voice from Jerusalem, and the heavens and the earth shall shake. But the Lord will be the hope of his people and the strength of the children of Israel. Just so we clear, that is figurative language. The sun and the moon shall be darkened, and the stars shall withdraw their shining. It's talking about knowledge and wisdom is going to be void, meaning there's wars going on right now that nobody knows how to get freed from. Nobody knows how to stop the Ukraine-Russian war. Nobody even understands what's going on with Iran and America. Nobody even gets that war. Why is that happening? Why is Donald Trump bombing the Iranians? What does he want them to do? Nobody, the wisdom and the knowledge and the understanding is gone. There's things that used to make sense in the earth. The things happening today don't make sense. Why is ICE rounding up Latinos? Why are they coming after the Haitians? A lot of it just doesn't make sense. It's cruelty for the sake of cruelty. War for the sake of war, bloodshed for the sake of blood being shed. And that's what the Bible is talking about with the sun and the moon being darkened in Joel 3:15. The Lord shall also roar out of Zion and utter his voice from Jerusalem. It's talking about the truth being spoken from his people. You understand? The Lord speaking the truth, and the heavens and the earth shall shake. Meaning, right now, the heavens and the earth are shaking. Meaning, there's turmoil amongst the leadership. There's confusion and turmoil amongst the people. That's all the civil unrest and all of the economies falling. All of these things are coming to pass because the Lord's voice is being spoken. The Lord's words are being prophesied through the earth. And as the Lord's words reach throughout the four corners of the earth, the Lord is bringing down this world. Everybody understands? Joel 3:17. So shall ye know that I am the Lord your God, dwelling in Zion, my holy mountain. Then shall Jerusalem be holy, and there shall no strangers pass through her anymore. So this is talking about the truth. It's talking about the establishment of the government of Israel, the establishment of the government that's going to usher us into the kingdom. That's present here in the ISUPK. And guess what? No strangers enter in here. There are no heathens that's coming in the ISUPK. There are no strangers passing through this place. This is a place that is completely isolated and only set up for and by the children of Israel to hear the word of the Lord and to receive the knowledge and the truth that is going to be required for us to make it into the kingdom. Everybody understands? Verse 18, and it shall come to pass in that day that the mountains shall drop down new wine, and the hills shall flow with milk, and all the rivers of Judah shall flow with waters. And a fountain shall come forth of the house of the Lord, and shall water the valley of Shittim. What is that talking about? That's in the kingdom. That's when the kingdom comes, man, and the new wine coming down from heaven it's all figurative, meaning the new wine is like a new way of living, it's like a celebration, a merriment that's never been experienced before, joy that can't be described. There's going to be new wine and new waters and new rivers that flow from the mountains of Jerusalem, meaning there's going to be a greatness that exists that has never been experienced before, greatness that exists that can't really be understood. Everybody understands. And it's going to happen because now Israel is redeemed. Now we're out of the days of Jacob's trouble. Everybody understand? This is the future for those who stand with the Lord and who keep these laws, statutes, and commandments, who are able to see, you know what I'm saying, the kingdom that we inherit. Everybody understand? Let's keep reading. This is Joel chapter 3, verse 19. It says, Egypt shall be a desolation, and Edom shall be a desolate wilderness, for the violence against the children of Judah, because they have shed innocent blood in their land. Again, what's Egypt? Egypt is the land of our captivity. Edom is our oppressors, the so-called white man, and all the places where they live and all the places where they rule. Is it coincidence that they figure into this prophecy that the Lord names Egypt and names Edom as he talks about the destruction that is going to come to those who have fought against the children of the Lord, as he speaks about the destruction that's going to come to, you know what I'm saying, the enemies or those who had us in captivity? No, it's not a coincidence. The Lord knows what he's talking about. The Bible is very clear on the prophecies of the end and what's going to happen in the last days and who is going to be held accountable. There is no escaping it, man. The white man is the devil the Bible speaks of. They are the children of Edom. And the Lord said that he is going to make Egypt desolate, and he is going to make Edom Edom desolate. Edom a desolate wilderness, and Egypt is going to be a desolation. Everybody understand? This is Joel chapter 3, verse 20. But Judah shall dwell forever, and Jerusalem from generation to generation. For I will cleanse their blood that I have not cleansed, for the Lord dwells in Zion. And that's the end of Joel, the 3rd chapter. You understand? Once again, brothers and sisters, we are living in the days of the Lord bringing again the captivity of Jacob. All of the evil things that you see taking place in this land called America, and in many of these other, countries in the Western Hemisphere, even over there in Europe, in the, you know what I'm saying, in Britain and in France and in places where our brothers and sisters have been scattered. All the evil that is, the oppression that's being ramped up against us is the Lord reminding everybody of the evil that has befallen his people, so that as he begins to visit our oppressors and visit these other heathens, nobody can find themselves blameless, you know what I'm saying, for the evil that's happening to them. The Lord is making sure that everybody able to see what America is doing to the Latinos, what America is doing to the Haitians, what America is doing to black people with what happened to Nolan Wells and all the black men being found hung in all of these cities all across this country. These devils think that they are going to get away. They think that no one is going to find them, hold them accountable. No one is going to bring them to justice, but they have forgotten about the Most High. You understand? Unfortunately, so have we. Now is the time the Lord is reminding us that we are his children and we are the people who he called. And there is no way for us to get out of this evil that we're in except for turning to him. And as we turn to the Most High, we will see more and more of our brothers and sisters being delivered. But as more and more of our brothers and sisters are delivered, more and more of our people are going to suffer under the harsh bondage that these oppressors are putting on us. It's just like it was in the days of Egypt. Before the Passover, the Lord delivered us and unalived the firstborns of all the Egyptians. Pharaoh's heart was hardened, and he turned up the oppression on the children of Israel. And the more that the Lord plagued Pharaoh and plagued Egypt, the more and more Pharaoh turned up the oppression on our people. That's where we are right now. 2026, man, is peak oppression for this lifetime, for those of us who've been on the earth, in this lifetime. And as we find ourselves in the midst of it, we must stand with the Most High. We have been given an opportunity to receive the truth, which no generation before us can say that they had in this country. The way that we had these classes and the way that this knowledge is being poured out, the way that these brothers are online teaching and battling all these false doctrines and these false philosophies, there's going to be no excuse for anybody when the time comes that our King returns for them to say, I didn't know any better. It takes, unfathomable faith to stand with the Lord in this time. But if you stand with the Lord in this time, the reward is going to be great. Sure, it makes sense to, capitulate. It makes sense to trim your ways to seek love. It makes sense to, integrate yourself into your oppressed society, hoping that they have a room for you and whatever their plans are for the next iteration of what this empire is going to be. But the righteous thing, the spiritual thing, the thing that is crazy and doesn't make any sense is to prepare yourself to live in the kingdom that's to come, which is the one that's going to be ruled by our King Christ. Everybody understands. And that's what we are in these days, man. Prepare yourself to live in the kingdom that's to come, because this one is falling apart. This world as we know it is over. It's done with. All the dreams and the aspirations and the promises that we were given, it's all falling apart. And so what? You're going to lose hope. You're going to stop living. You're going to stop working your job. You're going to stop taking care of your family. You're going to stop raising your kids. Nah, man, you're going to put your trust in the Lord. And you're going to obey him, and you're going to trust him, and you're going to come into the school, and you're going to learn, and you're going to study, and you're going to live righteously, and you're going to fight your demons, and you're going to overcome your shortcomings, and you're going to, overcome the things that have held you back and have limited you. And you're going to be great and mighty and amazing. And as this world continues to fall apart, we're going to pray for Jacob. We're going to pray for Jake. We're going to pray he wake up. We're going to keep teaching. We're going to teach him to wake up. And Lord, allow the Lord is going to seal those who he wants. But we're going to have strong hearts to endure the suffering of those who refuse to turn to him. In the end, the Lord is going to have the glory. The Lord is going to have the power. The Lord is going to have the kingdom, because that is what he said. Everybody understands. Before I close out the class, Brother Young Man Thomas has a question. Salakia, sir. in Colossians 3:11. Who is the barbarian, the Scythian, and who are they all that Christ is and end? All right, let's get Colossians chapter 3. Let's get Colossians chapter 3. A lot of these New Testament scriptures, I've talked to you about this before, young man. You got to understand the Old Testament in order to be able to understand these New Testament scriptures. All right, so this is Colossians 3, start at verse 11. It says, where there is neither Greek nor Jew, circumcision nor uncircumcised, barbarian, Scythian, bond nor free, but Christ is all and in all. All right, so Colossians 3:11, where there is neither Greek nor Jew. What is the Greek or the Jew? The Jew is an Israelite born in Israel, knowing he was an Israelite, circumcised on the 8th day. The Greek is an Israelite that was not born in Jerusalem, was not circumcised on the 8th day, that was raised in the world. So the Jew or the Greek is an Israelite in the truth, and a Jew and a Jew in the world, or African American today, a Haitian, a Dominican, somebody that doesn't know the Israel and somebody that does know the Israel. So Israel and Jake is the Jew and the Greek, right? The uncircumcised and the circumcised. Again, those circumcised on the 8th day, they solidified, they legitimate, they known, they've been raised knowing they was Israelites. The uncircumcised is they wasn't circumcised on the 8th day. Their parents wasn't in the truth. Their family was in the world. The barbarian, the Scythian. Barbarians were non-citizens. Barbarians were people who were born outside of Greece. You know what I'm saying? Who weren't, outside of Rome, weren't cultured, weren't citizens. They were, what they call them today? Not illegal aliens, but they immigrants. A barbarian was somebody from a land outside of Rome that came to Rome, but was looked at like, who is this barbarian? Who is this foreigner? Who's this cat that don't speak the language and don't know the customs? That's the barbarian. A Scythian was like one who was born among them, a citizen. A citizen is a Scythian. Like, he's familiar with the customs and the language and how we do things. So it's, again, in the world, in the truth. In the world, in the truth. Those are the correlations being made here. The barbarian is one that's not cultured, that's not educated. The Scythian is one that is cultured, that is educated. Like, he's accepted. The barbarian is not accepted. The Scythian is accepted. The Jew is accepted. The Greek was not accepted. The circumcision was accepted. The uncircumcision was not accepted. That's the relation that Paul is drawing with all these different opposites. You understand? Reading on, Colossians 3:11, bond nor free. Bond is not accepted. The free is accepted. And so none of these things, none of these differences matter in Christ. Meaning, you come into the truth, who cares? You was born a Jew or born a Greek, who cares? If you was circumcised on the 8th day or not circumcised on the 8th day, you come into the truth, who cares? You a barbarian or you a Scythian, you come into the truth, who cares? Meaning, if you college educated or you never graduated high school, who cares? Come in here, you'll learn it. We'll teach you how to read the Bible. You know how to read, we'll teach you how to read. You don't know how to speak, we'll teach you how to speak. You got a stutter problem, we'll teach you how to not stutter no more. It doesn't matter what your background is. Once you come into the truth, you're Christ. You belong to Christ. That's all that matters. Everybody understands? So at the end of Colossians 3:11, but Christ is all and in all. Meaning what? Christ is the Jew and the Greek. Christ is the bond and the free. Christ is the barbarian and the Scythian. Christ is the circumcised and the uncircumcised. Meaning all of them coming into the truth. All of them coming to the knowledge of Christ. All of them coming to give their life to the Lord. And that's what matters. You understand? Again, all is Jacob and all is Israel. It's the same river that flows through the Bible. You know what I'm saying? And it's such a beautiful thing in that, and when you understand the truth about the gospel, the truth about the good news is, although we've been niggas and spicks and wetbacks and drug dealers and the children of drug addicts and alcoholics and, didn't get a good education, didn't go to college, didn't make a lot of money, didn't have a lot of prospects in life, man, the Lord allowed us to have the truth, which makes us better than everybody else who does not serve the Lord. The Lord gave us a standard that had nothing to do with how good you did in school. It has nothing to do with how much money is in your bank account. The standard of the Lord has nothing to do with, whether you got 5 wives or you got no wives, whether you're a pretty woman with a 6-pack or you, big like Bertha. It doesn't matter. What matters is, do you serve the Lord? Are you obeying him? And guess what? If you obey the Lord, then you get the glory that those people who the world admires does not get. You understand? Look, I don't even speak too much on it. You know what I'm saying? I've been through some things in my life. I ain't never been 6'5", you know what I'm saying, 200 pounds with all the muscles in the six pack. And I'm 5'7", fat with an eye patch. I got wives. His niggas out here is 6'2", in shape, do all the push-ups and the body lifting in the gym, and he can't get one woman to stay with him. Look, you come serve the Lord, all other things that you think are important are not going to matter at all anymore. All that will matter is that you serve the Lord. And serving the Lord will grant you access to things that having money, that having height, that being, educated could never grant you. You come serve the Lord and be who the Most High calls you to be, and you'll have all the things that life has to offer because the Lord will make them available to you. With that, we're the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge out of 1 West 125th Street in Harlem, New York. Since 1969, we've been teaching so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians the truth according to the Bible. What is the truth? The truth is that so-called Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Indians descend from the greatest people that have ever walked the face of the earth. The Bible identifies us as the lost 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. And in the year 2026, there's nothing more important than for God's chosen people to learn the truth of who we are, where we come from, and what our purpose is on this earth. With that, man, the water to you brothers and sisters for tuning in. If you got family, loved ones, people you care about in the Memphis, Tennessee, and surrounding areas, get them in contact with the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge so they can learn the truth, man, and get this knowledge, wisdom, and understanding and become the people that the Lord called us to be. With that, I'll see y'all for class tomorrow. Israel Shalom.